I do sea kayaking. I am a sea kayaker, but I also enjoy surf kayaking. I started off with wave skis when I lived in New Zealand. When I came back to live in the UK, I was living near Oxford, and the surf's really quite rubbish around Oxford. So I took up kayaking because we had the River Thames close by. I enjoy planning a trip, the navigation side of it, planning the tides and weather conditions. I like the overnighters where possible. Most common place to paddle is near home in the south coast. Favourite place to paddle, warm water. I've had the chance to paddle in some parts of South America and Menorca in recent history. They were brilliant just because you're not wrapped up in rubber in your dry suit or whatever else. It's great to just go without that gear, just go with a t-shirt. So I recently went to Iceland with a few friends. We'd paddled with most of them before. For me, it was interesting being somewhere different. I had the chance to surf a little bit. And we were wild camping on various little islands, exploring some of these islands. So for me, I enjoy the sea kayaking because I get to combine, say, the trip planning that I would do with a sailing trip without the need and the expense of a sailing boat. I think the top tip really has to be not to race out and buy loads of gear. You can have a lot of fun with a very cheap boat. You don't have to go out and spend a fortune. Go out with people that you know, or have a go with a club briefly if you're into clubs. But just get used to what you want first, what you want to do, what you prefer. If you want to do your Greenland rolling, or if you want to do distances, if you want to do overnighters, that will all have a massive bearing on what sort of boat you want. You don't want to be buying a boat and then 6 months later decide it's not really what you wanted. Wildlife is always good. It's great to see a seal, occasionally see a dolphin, fantastic. You don't see that slouched on the sofa. You've got to get out and do something. Or catch a few really good waves, that's also good. See somewhere new. Jurassic Coast, for instance, there's so many miles, so many different coves, inlets, beaches. The scenery is amazing. I started the YouTube channel to fill the gap of the information I wanted. When I was planning originally around the Isle of Wight, there were parts I didn't know what conditions to expect. No one else had videos doing it, so figured we'll make one. I kayak because I can have fun. I can see places that I can't see from the land. Cycling, walking, you can't get to. You can't get to it half the time. Sailing, it's too narrow, too small, too fast, whatever, too turbulent to park a proper boat, a rib or a dinghy. You can't get to it. I like the needles because it's always changeable. It can end up with always a shot of the needles. So maybe from the viewer's point of view, oh, it's boring, it's the needles again. But it's always so different. The tide race comes, goes, it changes very, very quickly there. With a bit of weather, you've got the wreck there that'll pop up every now and then, give you something to look at. Fascinating place, and it takes some planning to get to. You can't really just hop in your boat and go. You've got to think about it. The necessary skills for sea kayaking that I enjoy are obviously your balance and the exercise side of it, but also the planning, your trips, your tides, etc., looking at the weather. I learnt a lot of that sailing, but I don't sail often enough to really hone those skills, so you can use that a lot more with the sea kayaking and the places you get to. I had the chance to paddle in Rio, in Brazil, and from Cartagena in Colombia. That was fascinating. If I had to pick one place I need to go and paddle, I want to paddle the south end of Chile. I want to go from the Andes out to the Pacific. I think that's around a 4 or 5 day trip through national parks, waterways. Some of it's barely charted. I know my role works. I only really know one role. I know plenty of people with a role for every day of the week. It would be nice to try some of the different ones, leading forwards for instance. Never tried it, maybe I should.
Stop! Capsize! Are you okay, Darren? Let me go down, my darling!
So motivation to get out today is to do something active in the sun before the autumn turns into winter. So I get people contact me through the channel quite often, and they'll say, I really want to do this, I really want to do that. The best advice is go and do it. Ideally, yeah, if you want to do something really crazy, obviously find someone to do that with. Don't put yourself in danger, but ultimately go and do it one way or the other.